Hello and welcome to the post-match review of United's supposed football match against Aston Villa away. Supposed because I have no idea what we just watched. That was not football. We didn't try to play. We didn't try to win. We didn't try to really do anything. We just went through the motions, and we were set up that way. It's depressing. We've now not scored in 3 straight Premier League matches. Right? Is it 3 straight or 4 straight? It might actually be 4 straight. No, it's 3 straight, right? We've not scored in 3 straight Premier League matches. And we've scored 5 goals all season in the Premier League. 0-0 to Villa, 0-3 to Tottenham, 0-0 to Palace in our last 3 games. The only games we've won have been Fulham on opening day, Southampton, which they missed a penalty, and were all over us in the first 30 minutes, and we turned it around, and against Barnsley. And we failed to beat, and we've lost to Brighton, Liverpool, and Tottenham, and we failed to beat Palace and Porto and 20. To me, this is an absolute embarrassment. It's our worst start ever for Manchester United in the Premier League, which was last year. Now it's worse by 1 point. And we don't have an injury crisis. We've had a preseason for a lot of players, as much as anybody else has had, you know. We've got more attackers. We've got more forwards. It was our first choice, front 3 today for Ten Hag. That did nothing. And we set up not to lose and not to get embarrassed. I just don't think that's acceptable. If we look at the stats on the starting here, there's nothing in this. First half, second half, they had 59% possession. We got a couple okay chances. I think our best chance of the game was the first shot from Marcus Rashford, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of individual opportunities. This one here, very early on. Once again, 0 minutes for Ugarte, who Ten Hag clearly did not want. Anthony came on before Ahmad to see the game out for some reason as well. Johnny Evans was our best player, and that tells you everything you need to know. In quotes, Johnny Evans said, we were really trying not to concede, basically, and that was the game plan. If anything, Aston Villa were just quite awful. Their final ball was absolutely terrible. I would say they definitely had the best chances of the game, but they were really, really bad in their final ball. We set up to just kind of sit in a mid-block and nullify them like I kind of thought we would. Dallo spent a lot more time wide today, and you could tell that was a purposeful change, which works defensively, and obviously we should have been doing all along, and even offensively it was better in the first half. So I'm glad we wasted half the season so far doing something else to now revert back to what we were doing before, which we should have been doing all along. Yeah, it's really hard to find things to say about this game. You know, it was just poor. I don't know what else to say. It was just a really, really poor game. Statistically, execution-wise, everything from both teams. If we look at the table now where United are at, we went into this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. If Brighton still have a game later, and when Forest's stats come in and they scored a goal, we'll be, you know, in general, there we go. A couple of the stats came in. Oh, yeah, Forest came in. So, no, they didn't. Never mind. Sorry. I just hadn't sorted it yet. But realistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th at best, 13th at worst in chances created. We didn't concede a ton. So we'll probably be 13th in expected goals against, and that fits. We're the 13th or 14th best team in the Premier League. There's really no arguing it. The underlying show it, the basic stats show it. We are the 13th or 14th best team in the Premier League. That's what we are. We've won 2 games, we've drawn 2, we've lost 3. Scored 5 goals. So overall, right, that's only Southampton have done worse going into this international break. If we look at some more breakdown of the numbers here, you can see Aston Villa had most of the threat, most of the territory. They were just bad. At the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. They were bad. We didn't really press. They did. That lower number is better. You can see we set up in a straight mid block just to block them off. And that was pretty much it. Yeah, they had the bulk of the threat, the bulk of the control of the game, and we just tried to shut them down. When we look at this, it says United had 3 entries into the opponent's danger room and 0.6 xG. It's a little lower than that. You can see our created XG was here. Our allowed XG was low as well. Created threat, low. Allowed threat, about average. Deep entries at the bottom. Opponent deep entries about mid. Point being, when you break down all the stats together, we didn't do anything. It was just a nothing game. You know, I don't know what you take from it. You know, it was a nothing game. There was nothing in it. There was nothing to it. And, you know, yeah, what do you say? You know, what about a game like this? When Johnny Evans is your clear man of the match, that's all you got to know. That's what we played for. And like I said, completely fair play to him. Johnny Evans defended, you know, like a warrior, as usual. He always does. But that's all we're doing. It's crazy that this is what's acceptable. That this is how we go into a game, you know, rotating to prove a point, like it's just another game. And if that's the case, and there's nothing, and they don't want to do anything about this, then I don't know what the point of watching the rest of the season is. You know, I don't know what the point of watching the rest of the season is, because this is what we're going to see. You know, this is what we're going to see all season. You know, extreme pragmatism. Anytime anything happens. And then you can't talk about progress and a process when you won't even do the same things. It changes based on how Ten Hag feels about his job, quite clearly. We went pragmatic today because he didn't want to get embarrassed. And we're just suffering because of this. Like, this is not a process. There's nothing to build on. There's absolutely nothing to build on. You know, it's ridiculous, man. After all that money, and after continuing this, I don't know what to say. It's like, people are looking at us like we're nothing. And it's embarrassing. I mean, the changing of the discussion as if playing for a draw against Aston Villa is now okay. I don't know. And even results aside, we didn't even play football the way that we were supposedly intending in order to build on and make a process. We didn't do any of it. And we've reached the point now where it's, oh yeah, well, all the players are shit and the forwards are all bad and nobody can score any goals. You had fewer options 2 seasons ago and got a bunch of goals out of it. You know? Ahmad's sitting on the bench. We're not setting anything up. Bruno Fernandes is undroppable in this rotation, despite being the worst player on the pitch all season. And we have no intention of building anything. And it's so obvious. And I really cannot believe if people are being fooled by this at this point. I really cannot believe it if anybody is fooled by this. Because it is really, really sad. And this is what we're going to see all season. There's absolutely nothing happening. I cannot point to one thing that has been better, that has actually improved. I just can't. I cannot. And I don't know where we're going. If we were seeing like actual progress, that would be one thing. But in order to solve the defensive problem of conceding a bunch of goals, all we've done is go back to being completely pragmatic. There's no attack and defend in Manchester United under Ten Hag right now. You cannot attack and defend. You're doing one or the other. We don't have both. There's no setup, there's no plan, there's no structure that says we're going to attack and be able to defend. We're going to control the game and do both. We concede shitloads, insane numbers of chances when we set up the way he wants to set up. So to prevent that, we just go back to Jose ball, Oli ball, and hope to hit on the break. This isn't going anywhere. The only reason we didn't concede a bunch of chances is because we set up not to. That's it. And we didn't set up to win the game. This isn't progress. We're just seeing the same thing played out over and over again. It's painful, man. It's painful waking up at 6 in the morning and looking at the lineup and saying, oh, we're not trying to win football games. We're not trying to progress. Manager's trying to keep his job and not get embarrassed. I can't subscribe to that, you know? I can't get on board with that. That's just completely unfair to the product being put out to fans to do that. It's the same as these managers who are, you know, playing, you know, beautiful football and watching their teams get relegated. You know, that they're putting their careers, the way that they see things before the team. I don't know. I don't get this. Complain about injuries all the time and then play the team that played last year. I got nothing to say about. I don't know where this goes at this point. I don't get it. Why is Ahmad not playing football, you know? Ahmad has been one of our best players, but it's because we just don't want to do anything with it, you know? It's so obvious. I cannot believe that people intelligent are buying into this, if anybody is. So we're going to see what happens. INEOS are all heading to... you know, they're all heading back to Manchester, including Sir Jim, including the whole leadership team. They're all heading back to Manchester right now. They will be there. They're going to have some discussions. And then they're going to go down to London on Tuesday, and Joel Glazer will be there. Which is meaningful, by the way, because Joel Glazer still has to oversee everything, and you know, and be a representative of the rest of the board. Even on football matters, where they can outrank, you know, basically. They have those meetings pretty regularly. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure then we'll get a message pretty quickly in the next day or two where this goes. But if this is acceptable, then, you know, then I've kind of given up hope on things. This is really bad. We're already back to all of the glow from all our new signings being bad. You know, we're back to, you know, after Xerxes was really good, we're back to Xerxes shit. Ugarte has 2 starts. It's been 6 weeks. One against Barnsley, which was a good game. One against Tottenham, which was a terrible game. And then we had a terrible game without him against Porto. So he's not going to play football for Manchester United under Ten Hag because he has no idea what kind of player he is and he doesn't want to use him. So that was a waste of 50 million already. De Ligt looks like a flop because he's being asked to run backwards and box defend. Now, instead of being a progressive front-footed defender for a high press, which is what he's good at. Who looks good? Johnny Evans, because he's a good box defender. He has been his whole career. He's old school. They're all, now everybody's shit. Our recruitment is shit. Everything is shit. That's how it's going to go. Those are the excuses that are going to be made. It's an endless cycle. And then it's funny because the players who were supposedly shit, like Eric, like McTominay, like Maguire, like those guys who supposedly got other people sacked, were the ones saving the current manager's job. Because that's just the cycle. When it goes on too long and things start to decline, it turns to all the players are bad again. If people buy into that crap because the players start performing badly, and they will. They just will. It happens at every club. And it's going to be everybody. But now it's the new signings. What excuse do you get for Ten Hag who made De Ligt playing like shit under Ten Hag because he's a bad player? What excuses do you get for that? It's just endless, and I don't know what to do with this, guys. I don't know what to take away from this game, because if this is what we're doing, then we really need to settle in. If they accept this in their meetings and their discussions for the next couple of days, if they accept this and this is okay, then we have a real problem on our hands. And I'm worried about it. Because as I said last week, I don't think they want to sack him. I don't think that Ashworth and Barada and such want to make a change right now. I don't think that they have anybody lined up to replace him. But the pressure from the top might be enough to force them to do something about it. And Sir Jim is there. He was there. He watched this. They took part. They saw this. My concern is if this is acceptable to Ashworth and Barada, that's bad on its own. If it becomes acceptable to Sir Jim and he watches this product as a fan, it's kind of crazy that I'm sitting there holding on hope that Sir Jim as a fan, like we all are, will sit and go, what the fuck am I watching? And tell them to do something about this, because it's not great. I don't know what the answer is either, but why is this going to change? Why is it going to change? That's my question. If Ten Hag stays, why is it going to change? Why is it going to get better? What is the answer? We didn't do anything different. We just regressed to not get embarrassed. We didn't do anything different today. We didn't do anything different against Porto. We didn't do anything different against Tottenham. The problems are not being fixed. We haven't seen it at all. And regressing, going back to a super hyper pragmatic style of play to solve your defensive issues is not the answer. And if it is, then what's the point anyway? We're not going anywhere. We're not winning football games that way. We might win a few, but we're not going to progress to anywhere. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to, get into the Champions League playing like that. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, it's frustrating, very frustrating. And that's all I've got. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Tell me what you think. I don't know what's going to happen over the next few days, but surely we'll obviously cover it. And if I hear anything, I'll let you all know. But guess we'll find out after the meetings and things like that. They do need to say something. They do need to say something. And, yeah. They do need to say something about this, because this is just not okay anymore. And that's that. Okay? Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. See you in the next one.